Hey guys, it's Vision Waves here, and today I'm going to be doing what if deku had half sound and half silence quirk. The reason I'm doing this is because I, had this idea for a long time, ever since I finished Hamatora. You guys don't know what Hamatora is? It's like My Hero Academia, except, instead of it being kids, it's teens and adults. And instead of it being school, it's an investigation squad. And instead of, it being, instead of there being quirks, they have these powers called minimums, which are quirks, but like with a bunch of drawbacks, and they still have that extra bone in their toe. So yeah, and yeah, I'm just also sorry. I blanked a bit. I blank sometimes. Yeah, I have really nothing else to say. If you guys haven't watched Hamator, I suggest it. I liked season 1. Last episode of season 1 was bad, but season 2 made up for it. So, I'm fine with it. And yeah, without further ado, play my intro. No, that's fun. Let's get straight into the video. So, we start off with the backstory. Yeah. This is like, 250 years before Izuku was born? Sorry if you guys heard that. That was my PSD starting up. Because I was, using it for a bit. So, yeah. My PS3 starting up. So, yeah. Let's start with the backstory. This takes place 250 years before Izuku was born. We start off with, the last episode of Hamador, season 2. When Hajime, I'm pretty sure that's how you say your name. Ajime uses Nihilist, which is... Nihilist is a minimum which erases other people's minimums. And yeah, when it erases other people's minimums, it causes them to, go dull and emotionless because minimums are powered by ego. So yeah. After that happens, Nice comes in, then he uses ego. If you guys don't know what ego is, So Nice has 2 minimums. His minimum he was born with, which is sound manipulation quirk, which lets him turn himself into sound waves and move very fast, or travel through wavelengths. And the other one he got was ego, which he got from skill. Skill had this minimum called ego, which allowed him to technically awaken other people's minimums. So yeah, because minimums are powered by ego. But while how do I explain this? Nice was in a factory or some place. He tried to break Ajime out. This was we're out there 7 or 9. While doing this, he got shot in the heart. But Skill gave up his heart for him, and when he gave up his heart to him, he got ego. So yeah. Since Nice has ego, he uses it because he uses his hope, and yeah, instead of just affecting Japan, this time it's gonna affect the whole world, which causes quirks to pop up. That's what they call it because minimums. No, people in Japan call it minimums at first until people forgot that it's actually they're gonna call it quirks because unlike minimums, these don't have a lot of drawbacks. It's one drawback, and it's not really that hard. You can work past it. So yeah, people start calling it quirks, and Murasaki, I'm pretty sure that's his name. Ratio, RATIO, whatever that is. Birthday, Hajime, and Nice become the first 5 heroes in Japan. They're called, Hamatora. They're called the 5. And Nice's nickname is the creator of all quirks, while Hajume's nickname is the destroyer of minimums. Like, people don't really hate Hajume. Like, they still they respect her because it's not really her fault. So yeah, they don't really blame her. So yeah, him this one Hajime and Nice, they get married, and yeah, they have kids. Yeah, and they have kids. And yeah, now we're gonna skip 250 years in the future, and it was really bad because I'm doing this because it doesn't really affect My Hero Academia too much. So yeah. So then, all for one, all one for all still exists, yeah, and yeah. Now we go to Izuku. Izuku Midoriya is being born, and Hasashi works in Island this time. He still goes to work, even though they're rich. He just wants to bring home some extra money to make sure that if something happens, they're safe. So yeah, they still have money. And yeah, you know, Inko, is very happy, and yeah, he's very happy. Sorry, she's very happy, and yeah. When Deku reaches the age of 5, he goes to the quirk doctor. The quirk doctor explains that he has technically 4 quirks, which is like one is a half and half quirk, and another one is another half and half quirk. Or sorry, another one is ego. He doesn't have the same ego that Nice has, and he's also gonna have nihilist, which is Hajame's. The reason why she was able to destroy all of minimums, and yeah, he's also gonna have a half sound, half silence quirk. So just as he's also gonna be able to travel through wavelengths, like his great grandfather Nice. Like, his name is literally Nice. Like, it's funny. So yeah, I'll explain more of his abilities as we go on and continue the series. And yeah, you know, he finds Bakugo. He's gonna tell Bakugo, but then he finds out that Bakugo is bullying another kid. And this gets Deku a bit mad, but not too mad. So he tells Bakugo to stop, and then he's doesn't really, and Bakugo still calls Deku Deku because he hasn't awakened his quirk. So he's like, get out of my way, Deku. You're still useless. What are you gonna do? And then the person behind him, she is very scared. So yeah, the person he's attacking is very scared, and I try to say Izuku, says that he's not going to, but then Bakugo's like, huh, then I'll deal with you first. He attacks Izuku, and Izuku falls out the way. Then he sees him trying to attack the person who is bullying, and this makes him feel despair because he thinks that he failed, right? And this is when he activates Nihilus. So his eyes glow a very dark black, and his hair raises up a bit, and Deku, erases Bakugo's quirk. Not permanently, just for like the whole day. So yeah. And then Bakugo, says, Deku, you have a quirk and you never told me. And he's like, no, I just found out today. I was going to tell you until I found you bullying someone. And Deku says that they can't be friends anymore since he doesn't want to be friends with a bully. And he tells his mom that he wants to leave. And they leave to Island to go meet his dad. They stay there on Island because his dad is a scientist. Hisaki's gonna be a scientist in this one. So yeah, while he goes to his new school, he sees 2 people getting bullied. One of them's name is Denki Kaminari. Yes, I'm adding Denki in this one. Denki's gonna live in Island. And another one is named Melissa Shield. Yes. That might be the ship. It all depends on if someone comments or not about a ship, and also if I like that ship or not. So yeah, that happens, and Deku sees this, and then he decides to use his quirk. The doctor did tell him that to use his quirk he needs headphones. So his mom gets him these type of headphones. These type. Wait, yeah, he gets him these type of headphones. I'm pretty sure. So yeah. Actually, is this the right one? Might not be. Away. Can't find them. Well, these. Dang it! So hard to find. This is why I don't like doing this. These type of headphones. These type of headphones. So yeah. He gets him those kinds. And yeah. He uses his sound quirk to create this type of sound barrier around them, so when the people who are trying to bully them go for an attack, they get stopped by the sound barrier, and then Deku tells him to leave them alone. And the way Deku uses half an apple is his right hand is his sound side and his left hand is his silent side. So yeah, he snaps his left hand to use silence, or his silence, his half silence quirk. So he silences the zone, and the more, the bigger the area is, the more he can silence. So he silences the zone, and this increases his power quite a bit. And he snaps his right hand, turns himself into a sound wave, and he goes in and he attacks all of them. He wins the fight. They run away. He then asks if they're okay. Denki says that they're fine, and Deku asks why they're bullying them. Denki then tells him that his great grandpa, his name is Birthday. Yes, people in Hamatori, there's this one person in Hamatori whose name is Birthday, and he has the ability to control electrical currents. So that's how Hamatori's gonna get his quirk. So he tells him that his great grandpa has the ability to control electricity, and he's one of the 5, because that's what I named them. He's called the King of Electricity, I'm pretty sure. Whatever. So yeah, that's what they call him. And yeah, he then says that they were bullying him because his quirk is weak, it's weaker than his grandpa's, because he can't generate electricity. It's just that if he uses too much, he turns dumb. So people are bullying him, saying that he can't possibly be the great grandson of one of the 5. So yeah, and that happens. But then Kaminari then says that he's still gonna be a hero, believe it. Then I just put a Naruto meme. Dang it. I'm sad about that. Okay, never mind. Then he turns Melissa, and then he tells that Melissa is quirkless, and that's why they're bullying her. But then Melissa says that she's still gonna be a great support hero for other people, and she's gonna make great adventures like her dad. So yeah, they can feel the hope radiating off of them, and this is when he activates Ego. Yes, he does Ego. His eyes turn from a light blue to a vibrant yellow, and he awakens their quirk. The way it works is that he's able to awaken quirkless people's quirks, because in this one, people who are quirkless are just people whose quirks did not develop enough to manifest. So yeah, he awakens them, and he also awakens Kaminaris. So people who already have quirks, if they get hit by Ego, then what's it called? If they get hit by Ego, then their quirks can evolve, and this causes Kaminari to not be affected by electricity anymore, and he's able to manipulate it, control it, generate it, and discharge it, all without becoming that stupid version of himself. And he's also able to control the electricity in the air, so lightning and stuff like that. And Melissa awakens a quirk that I will call what the hell not. I'll give her a quirk called Goddess. So self-explanatory. She has the ability to manipulate light. She's also gonna have the ability to sprout out white feathery wings that look like angel wings. And I might give her more stuff. All depends. And yeah, they thank Deku, and Deku tells Kaminari that they're kind of like brothers. Kaminari asks why, and then Deku tells Kaminari that his great grandfather and great grandmother were part of the five. They were called the creator of all quirks, or king of sound, nice, and the destroyer of all minimums, Hajime. So yeah, Deku and Kaminari become amazing friends. And, Melissa's also there. So yeah, Deku tells Inko about this, that he has new friends, and yeah. So they all go to school. Then at the last day, the teachers announce that 3 people from their class are going to be going to UA. Sorry to tell you guys I didn't mention, but there was a time skip, but there's no reason for me to tell you guys those time skip. It should be obvious. Time skip to where they're like 14? Yeah, 14. So they're very experienced using their quirks, and yeah, Deku keeps the headphones around his ear or around his neck, like Nice does. I really don't know what Nice looks like, or haven't noticed, but Nice is like the person in the picture on the right, and yeah, that's Nice. That's him. Then on the left is what Deku looks like right now. He has blue hair with gray at the tips, and he has light blue eyes. I just used this picture because I thought it would be easiest to edit, and he is gonna have those arcs of lightning around him, but not right now. That's gonna be for a later date, So yeah, spoilers, and so they're called the top 3 because Melissa is amazing using her quirk. She ranks 3rd in the school. Kaminari ranks 2nd, and Izuku, my guy, ranks 1st. So yeah, all of that happens, and the teachers explain that 3 people from their class are gonna be going to UA, and everyone's like, yeah, it gotta be Melissa, Kaminari, and Izuku. 2 of them are descendants of one of the 5, and another one has an amazing quirk. So yeah, and they do train physically, not just their quirks, because Deku, or should I say Izuku, made sure that they did, because he doesn't want lazy friends. And yeah, Deku's personality, this is gonna be cold to people who he doesn't know, but very kind, energetic, and funny to people who he does know. Melissa's personality is gonna generally stay the same, happy and very smart. And Kaminari's is gonna be he's gonna be like the same as Melissa's, happy-go-lucky, kind of goofy, and decently smart. So yeah, and I'm gonna say that they are recommendations because they just got recommendations from UA, and they got scholarships because of how UA saw what they can do. Because I'm gonna say there's just one testing your quirks out, so that UA can see there were scouts. So UA gave all 3 of them recommendations. So that was fun. So he tells their mom, and they move out. They all go to this same apartment complex. They all live beside each other, so they all have their separate rooms. And yeah, while they get off their plane ride, because they didn't take a plane to get to what was it called? Dang it. Damn it, I don't even know what it's called. To get where they used to live, or where Izuku used to live. Right? They hear an explosion, and it's Bakugo getting trapped at a sludge villain. Izuku tells Kaminari to watch his bags. He's gonna take care of this. Izuku runs into the crowd, and he puts on his headphones. And Sludge is like, "Ha, what are you gonna do?" And then easy. Izuku snaps his right finger and sends sound waves. These sound waves are at the right frequency enough that it would blow the sludge villain away from him. And yeah, Izuku then decides to use a move which he calls total destruction. Yeah, I'm gonna call it that, or sonic destruction. Be right back. Sorry for the random cut. My parents called me to go do something, and yeah, where I left off, I'm pretty sure I just said that Deku used a move. So to use this move, I'm pretty sure I called it like sonic destruction or disruption, whichever one. So to use the move, he snaps his finger twice. When he snaps the first time, he creates a sound barrier. When he snaps the second time, he makes, or should I say, like, he usually won't use this move against people because it's very dangerous and lethal. By using it against Sludge villain because it's very, there's a special limit in Sludge. So he uses a move called Sonic Disruption. So he makes a barrier, but inside the barrier, it's generating sound slashes. So, sound waves in like a slash form. So they start to cut up the Sludge villain. The Sludge villain is screaming, but they don't really hear it because the sound barrier is blocking the sound, and that's not like his sound barrier doing it. Like he used like his silence to silence the screams, so they can't really hear it. Then when the Sludge villain faints, when the Sludge villain faints, what was it? Yeah, when the Sludge villain, as I said this, 5 times. When the Sludge villain faints, he undoes it, and he just undoes it. All the heroes are scolding him, like saying that was dangerous, and then Izuku says, "Huh, that was dangerous. I'd rather risk my life unless someone died because a pro hero couldn't do their job properly." And people they both take offense to that. They're kind of mad, but they know it's true. And Bakugo does come up, but before he says Deku, but he can't really say anything since he fainted. So yeah, the press comes up to him and they ask his name. Izuku says his name is Izuku Midoriya. I'm gonna say in this one, Nice's last name's gonna be Midoriya. So yeah, and then they're like Midoriya. Of course, we've not heard that name before. And then one of the reporters chime in saying, "Wait, do you mean Nice Midoriya?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's my great grandpa." And he's like, and then people start to tell him saying "Oh, oh, your grandfather was one of the first. Your great grandfather was one of the first one of the first heroes ever, one of the greatest. He had this amazing sound quirk, and you must have inherited it." And he says, "Yeah, but that's not all." And then they ask, "Wait, that's not all?" And then he says, "That's for another day." And then he puts his headphones back on, and then he does what Nice usually does, he turns on into sound waves, and my dude is gone. Yeah, he technically teleports back beside them. Denki and Kaminari and Melissa are like, "Ha, Deku, you did a pretty good job, am I right?" Izuku did a pretty good job, and he's like, "Yeah, guys, yeah." They're walking home. They part ways because their apartments are right next to each other. But before Izuku can enter his apartment, he gets stopped by this yellow-haired man who's very, very skinny. If you guys don't know who this is, then you guys must have not read that and must have not know what My Hero Academia is. So yeah, he tells him saying that he wants to talk to him. And they go outside, and then he buffs up and says, "I am All Might." And then Izuku, he believes him because Izuku can hear the sound waves coming from people's hearts. And he knows that if their heart accelerates, that means that they're most likely lying. So yeah, he trusts this, and then he says, "Okay." And then he's All Might surprised because most people would say "Oh, you're an imposter" or something like that. So yeah, they talk for a bit, and All Might asks Izuku if he wants to gain one for all. Izuku says, I don't need it." And he's like, "Okay, first you need it." "What? Wait, you don't need it?" And he's like, "Yeah, I don't need it." He's like, this is one of one of the 2 strongest quirks in the world." And he says, "No, it's not." And he's like, "Yes, it is." And he's like, "Okay, what are the two strongest quirks in the world? And then he says, one for all and all for one. And then Izuku says, no, ego and nihilist. And he's like, ego and nihilist. Those sounds like traits. And then he says, you know my great grandfather, right? And he's like, yeah. And then he's like, do you know how he gave everyone their quirks? And then he says, no. And then he says, he used a quirk called ego. Minimums, or should I say, the things before quirks were called minimums. Minimums were powered by ego. So, my father, or my great grandfather, had a quirk. It was called ego, and it allows him to technically give people quirks. And it all depends on how much hope he's feeling. So that's how the whole world game quirk. Like, he is the originator, and then All Might's like, and then he's like, okay, then what's nihilist? And he's like, my great grandmother had that quirk. Minimum. It's the minimum to be able to erase other people's quirks permanently. Like, Eraserhead, right? And he's like, yeah. I'm pretty sure he's like my uncle. I'm pretty sure, because I'm gonna say that Eraserhead got erasure from being part of the Midoriya family, but instead of him being called Midoriya, he took the name Aizawa. So yeah. And then he explains it, and then he's like, huh, so you really don't need it. And then he's like, but still, come on. And he's like, how about this? You just give it to one of my other friends. And he's like, who? And he's like, he's one of the other grandchildren of the five. His name is Denki Kaminari. He has the ability to completely control electricity. And he's like, I'll think about it. So, yeah, All Might's going to be watching them for now. And, yeah, do those 10 months of training. I'm going to do a time skip 10 months, because I don't really need to tell them how they train, They clean up Dagobah Beach, they all take 1/3 of it, and, they clean up pretty quickly. And then, they start to do combat training. At this point, All Might has decided to give one for all to Kaminari. If you guys don't want me to give Kaminari one for all, then if I say I shouldn't give Kaminari one for all, I'll give it to Mirio instead, because he deserves it too. So yeah. And yeah, what now? Yeah, we go to the entrance exam. They do a recommendation because they got recommended by UA. So they come in, when they walk in, they first see a girl with a ponytail, with a black hair and a ponytail, and then they go to the other side, look to the other side to see, a boy with dual colored hair, and looking real cold, and yeah, they do the recommendation, they ace their recommendation, they do amazing, in total they come first, second, and third. And their physicality is not bad. It's amazing. So yeah. That's pretty much it. You do a recommendation exam. Yeah. In this one, Bakugo's gonna save Uraraka, because that's it. I don't really have to say anything about it. And yeah, we skip to the first day of UA. They all walk in together, since they live very close together. When they walk in to see Bakugo and Lita complaining. Then Bakugo stops to look at the side to see Izuku, and he's like, Izuku, Deku, I didn't need your help. And he's like, we get it, you're bossy and all that. He goes to sit down. Then all three of them sit beside each other. I don't really know. Sure, yeah, they just sit beside each other. And yeah, they wait. Uraraka comes in. He thanks Bakugo. Bakugo, for the first time in forever, actually says, you're welcome. And yeah. Then, Aizawa says, you guys wasted 8 minutes talking. This isn't good. And I'm gonna say that Aizawa and Izuku know that each other are like they know that they're uncle, so they had like this uncle nephew relationship. So yeah. Um, then we go on to do the quirk assessment exam. You know, everyone goes to in, and then when they're changing, Ryujin is like, damn. He's like, damn, Kaminari and Izuku are jacked. And, everyone turns to see, Kaminari and Izuku, with them eight packs, and he's like, damn. And then Kirishima asks, what's your training regimen? And he's like, I've been training for like, what, 10 years now? So, it should be natural. And he's like, damn. Nice to meet you. My name's Ichiro Kirishima. And he's like, nice to meet you. My name's Izuku Midoriya. And, Kaminari says that, his name is Denki Kaminari. And, they go outside. Bakugo gets to go throw it first. He throws it. It gets the same, like, something like 705 point. I said just 705 meters. Those wild can die. Everyone thinks, he's so loud. And then he says, first place in the recommendation exam, Izuku Midoriya. Then, Izuku Midoriya is supposed to throw the ball. And then he decides, I'm gonna play with you guys. So instead of him throwing the ball, he just first things first, he puts on his headphones, and everyone's like, why is he doing that? And then he throws the ball in the air, lightly. Then he snaps his fingers, and the ball goes exploding, doing 3 sonic booms, getting him to 3,150 meters. Everyone's like, damn. And they're like, damn, like the dude didn't even throw it far. And then he's like, good job, Izuku. And he's like, thanks, uncle. And everyone's like, uncle. And they do the exam. Izuku has to rank first. He's the main protagonist. Ranks first. Kaminari ranks second, because Kaminari in this one's gonna have a pre-created version of something I would like to call Godspeed. Yes. So the reason why it's pre-created is lightning has 3 colors. It can go from the regular yellow to blue to black. So the reason why this is a pre-created version is because his body can't handle fully the blue lightning yet. So, he only uses the yellow lightning, which makes him a lot faster. And, yeah. And, Melissa can, just fly. And when she flies, she's very fast. Faster than, running with a reciprocal burst. So, yeah, that should be pretty fast. And, yeah. So, Izuku ranks first. Kaminari ranks second. And Melissa ranks third. Then, next day, I'm pretty sure, Hero versus Villains, All Might walks in, tells them, hero costumes, Izuku's gonna be wearing the same thing that Nice is wearing on the screen. No, he's gonna be wearing what he's wearing on the screen, He's gonna be wearing, the blue jacket, the black pants, and, the white shirt, just, without the gloves. Everyone's like, wait, that's your hero costume? And he's like, comfortable, and it's not like anyone's gonna be really able to sorry, not everyone's gonna be able to. Dang it, I should be able to speak English properly. And he says, it's not like everyone's gonna be able to touch me anyways. And everyone's like, cocky much? And he's like, no, I can move at the speed of sound. And they're like, no way. And Denki or Kaminari comes in, and he walks in, wearing a jacket, a shirt, some pants, and some metal darts. Because he can charge things into, he can charge electricity into things to make it a lot faster and stronger, and give it that stun or paralyzation effect. So yeah, everyone's like, you too, and he's like, I can move at the speed of lightning. And they're like, dang it, And then Melissa comes out with an actual hero costume. Think of what should I call it? She comes out. She's wearing actually screw it. She walks in. She's wearing a shirt, some pants or some tights, whichever one. And she walks in, and they're like, "What about you?" And you're like, I can make barriers of light." And you're like, "Ah, damn it." So, they're not really wearing hero costumes, and then All Might says, like they say, the costume makes the heroes, and you all look fantastic. You know, so instead of it being Deku and Ochako, it's gonna be Deku and Kaminari versus Bakugo and Ida. You know, Bakugo says that he's going to go beat um Izuku. So yeah, and he tells Ida to guard the bomb. Ida tries to disagree, but Bakugo's already gone, so he has to guard the bomb now. And yeah, 5 minutes before, like, Deku and Kaminari make a plan. He tells Kaminari that Bakugo's probably gonna come for me, so you should run when he gets to run at speed of lightning. Use God speed, your pre-created version, and run as fast as you can. Which is like 1/3 of the speed of lightning, and run. He says, okay, and then you're gonna fight Bakugo, and he's like, yeah, and you go get the bomb, and he's like, okay. They walk in, they get to the second floor. Then, before they turn the corner, Deku can hear Bakugo because he has enhanced hearing because of a sound quirk. He hears Bakugo, he puts on his headphones, then he tells Kaminari, as soon as I hit Bakugo, you run, okay? Bakugo comes around the corner, Deku hits him straight in the stomach, and Kaminari runs very fast. Then he's gone. Bakugo starts saying, Izuku, you won't be like you did when we were kids. And he's like, how? I will become a hero. I don't even get how someone like you made it into UA with that personality of yours. It's like dumpster garbage put on fire. And he's like, what did you say to me, nerd? And he's just throwing explosions. But Izuku just makes a sound barrier. And yeah. Izuku then starts to use his silence. Like he slams his left finger and uses his silence, which causes the area to look like it's black, white, and gray, but it's just because there's no color because the sound also reflects or deflects light, so there's not really any much color. So yeah, but this increases Deku's power exponentially, and he starts whamming in on Bakugo. Then Bakugo doesn't really say anything. He just points to his gauntlet, and he pulls the pin. And then All Might's like, Bakugo's gonna kill him. And then, Bakugo can't really say anything because, the zone is still silent, so he can't really say anything. And, yeah. Before this happens, Izuku uses Nihilist. Like I said, Izuku can use the feeling of other people to, use his quirks. He uses the feeling of the spirit and word that's coming from All Might to charge Nihilist. So this completely, disables his quirk. Easy as that. I'll go looks at the comments like, what the heck? You can't really say it because the zone is so silent, Then, Bakugo unactivates the silence zone, and he's looking at Bakugo with those dark black eyes. And Bakugo gets scared, he tries to run, but then Izuku snaps his right finger. And then he moves at the speed of sound, catches up to him, then he punches Bakugo very hard, knocking him out. And then he cuffs Bakugo. This battle sounds like it took a long time, but it really didn't. It took 5 minutes? No, 3 minutes. That whole fight happened in 3 minutes. Everyone's, amazed. And yeah, he goes to go go find Kaminari. Kaminari just came into Ida's room, So Kaminari, defeats Ida, ties him up. And then, All Might's hero teams win. you know, Kaminari and Izuku walk back down. Melissa congratulates them, and they ask who the MVP was. Momo says that the MVP was the hero team, like both of them, because they both stuck to their plan, and they both did it, and they both didn't really go out their way to do anything. So yeah, they go back to class. People ask what Izuku's quirk is. Izuku tells them that he has a half and half quirk, and two others, and they're like, "Wow, you have four quirks," and he's like, "Yeah, my first quirk is my half and half quirk. I have half silence, half sound." And Todoroki's intrigued by this because he's like, another one, someone else who has a half and half sound, unless half and half quirk. But he's like, but he said he has two other two. What are they? And then Izuku then says that he has two other quirks. One of them, which is called. Actually, he doesn't really tell him. He's like, another one's gonna be a secret. This one's gonna be a secret. And people are thinking like it's like an erasure because they saw Izuku's hair go up, kind of like what Aizawa does with some of his eyes glowing, red it goes black, and Battle's potion suddenly didn't work. So yeah, they think it's like some kind of erasure, but they don't know his last quirk. So yeah, I got time to do like one more arc. So yeah, USJ. 1 week they go to the 1 week after they go to the USJ. Before I forget, Deku was elected class president, and Kaminari's vice president. No, Melissa's vice president because why not? Melissa takes care of the alarm problem by telling him to suppress, and yeah, we go to the USJ. Veropi asks what Izuku's two other quirks are. He just says that they'll find out in due time, and they're like, so that happens. Then we go to the USJ. 13 explaining what's happening, but then the portal opens up and villains start flooding, and then Shima says they even have fake villains, and then I thought like these are real villains. 13 get the kids, and then before he can get 13, or before I thought I can jump down, Melissa, Deku, and Kaminari are already down there fighting villains, kicking their butts very easily. Melissa's making light swords and shields made out of light. Kaminari's just shooting them with electricity, and Deku's moving at the speed of sound, hitting all of them, destroying all of them. And I thought it was like, get back up here. And he's like, and Izuku says, you're not able to beat all these by yourself. Let us help you. And he's like, dang it, fine. So that happens. They all get teleported. And yeah, they defeat all the villains. Then the Nomu comes in. The Nomu, Shigari commands the Nomu to kill Aizawa. It goes for Aizawa. Then it snaps Aizawa's wrist, and it starts to snap him. Then Melissa summons a light sword. He stabs the Nomu with it because Melissa isn't really he's not really afraid to get the kill, and she knows that the thing is not human. So yeah, he snaps it through it. She thinks that it's dead, but it comes back and it hits Melissa. This is all happening in slow motion for Deku. He sees Melissa about to get hit, but he's not fast enough, even though it can move at the speed of sound. He's not fast enough to stop it, and then Melissa gets hit. They can hear the crack in her bones and her flying. When this happens, Deku is enraged. He activates Nihilus. His hair defying gravity. It looks like he just went Super Saiyan. Defying gravity. It's all up, and then his eyes go a dark black. He starts walking towards the Nomu. Then he snaps his left fingers. He silences the zone, and that gives him a lot of power. He gets a big power boost, and then I'm gonna say that he's lost. Like he can talk in the silence zone, but not with the people, and they can obviously see the Nomu shaken, and he says, "You will pay for what you did." And Deku snaps his right finger and makes a bunch of sound flashes, and it all hits the Nomu, but the Nomu just regenerates, and he's like, regeneration, and Deku goes in for a punch, and the punch lands but doesn't really do any damage, and he's like, shock wave or shock absorption too. And then the Nomu gets cocky, thinking like, oh, I just feel fear, and like I won't die, I'll be fine. So he tries to go for a hit. Deku's like, no. He snaps his right finger, and he goes back to where he was. Then he decides to use Sonic Devastation. This is a much stronger version of Sonic Destruction. So instead of it just being like a few sound flashes, like it's sound flashes coming from every single direction, and it cuts the normal up into pieces. Like you can only see the pieces of the normal left with a telescope, or like a telescope or like a magnifying glass. Without that, you can't even see the normal anymore. It's just gone. No blood, like no, like it's all gone. And then everyone can feel the amount of hate coming off of Izuku, because Izuku is very, very, very pissed. So yeah, and then he calms down, he stops, and he kind of faints. This is when my guy Kaminari comes and catches him, and he says, oh, "It happened again." And yeah, they go back, and while they're walking back to UA, because I'm gonna say that Lita did go to go get the teachers. They come back. All Might sees Izuku completely smack the Nomu, and he's like, young Midoriya. And before he can get to Midoriya to like catch Midoriya, Kaminari's right there, catching him. He's like, he overdid it again, and yeah. Everyone asks what that was, and Kirishima then says, I guess we have to tell you now, do we? It's one of the two quirks I didn't tell you about. It's called Nihilist. He has the ability to, oh damn, shit. I forgot he has Nihilist. He's using Nihilist. That means that, the quirks on the Nomu should have not worked. So, let me redo the Nomu fight real quick. He activates Nihilist after Melissa getting, hit and all her bones, most of her bones cracking. He gets very mad. He activates Nihilist. And when he activates Nihilist, just by looking at the Nomu stops. Like, it just dies, because the Nomu is living off of the energy that the quirk is giving him. The super strength, sharpness absorption, and regeneration, they all just stop. The Nomu is weak. Like, it can hardly even walk. Izuku comes in, punches the Nomu once, and this force is very strong. And instead of it just being like imprint, like it blows a big hole through the whole chest of the Nomu, and the thing goes flying into the air, Team Rocket style. And yeah, Izuku then faints. Kaminari catches him and says, oh, he overdid it again. But yeah, they go get Musa help, and then they ask what the quirk is, and then Kaminari then says that the quirk he just used was one of the two quirks I didn't tell you about. It's called Nihilist. It has the ability to permanently erase quirks, like permanently erase, and it's like yes, it has the ability to erase your quirk, or when you use it activate, it has the ability to erase your quirk for a few days. But he also has the ability to erase your quirk permanently. And the activation for his quirk is Despair. And they're like, Despair? And it's like, yeah. So, when Melissa got hit, because Melissa's like a very close friend, we don't hear for 10 years. When she got hit by it, he felt instant wave of despair, because he thought that, he lost one of his most important friends. And, Nihilist activated, making him anger prone, kind of, because when he activates Nihilist, he feels like a lot of anger overcomes him, and he kind of loses control a bit. But he's back, he's fine. So yeah, that happens, and that's where I'm gonna leave it off, because honestly, I feel like I literally just did what usually happen 2 to 3 episodes in one. So yeah, the next video I should be doing is what if Deku had an eye quirk. Reason why I haven't done that yet is because honestly, I'm still thinking of like what or how I'm gonna do it honestly. And whenever I'm at the at overhaul, I'm just delaying that because honestly, I'm having writer's block. So yeah, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So like yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out. Sorry for it being not as clear. I could have made it better. That's my fault. The reason is because you know I am very nervous because I'm starting school tomorrow, or when this video comes out today. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this. Peace out.